In this video, I'm going to talk about the new EP by Primus. First, I'll talk a little about the band, then I'll talk about the 3 songs on the EP. So, the EP is called Conspiranoid. It has 3 songs, so let's talk about it. So, when I was younger, around the late 80s and early 90s, I was really into heavy metal music, and then, the grunge scene came out, and I really got into that. Now, this band Primus, they kind of appeared right in the middle of that period. And they had some albums. They had Frizzle Fry from 1990. Then after that, they released Sailing the Seas of Cheese. That one had the single Jerry Was a Race Car Driver. Then they released Pork Soda and a few other albums in the 90s. Now you probably remember their big hits, My Name is Mud and Winona's Big Brown Beaver. But they were a band that was hard to describe. They were kind of heavy. They weren't metal. They were one of those bands where the bass guitar was at the forefront, and there wasn't really a lot of heavy bands where the bass guitar was the main instrument. Usually metal bands, it's always distorted guitars. That's the focus. But the bass player is Les Claypool, and he was kind of a genius when it comes to playing the bass. So brings us to 2022, and they released an EP called Conspiranoid. And it's about 20 minutes long. It has 3 songs. So the first song is over 11 minutes. The album is about misinformation and conspiracy theories. So the album does, or the EP, it talks a lot about current events. So it is a very a current and a modern type of EP. So the topics they talk about are far-right conspiracy theories, talking about chemtrails, flat Earth, COVID, and other things. So let's talk about it. First song, Conspiranoia. They released this as a single, prior to the release of the EP. This one has this psychedelic rock type of feel. Les Claypool's playing his signature bass guitar riffs. He plays these riffs at different tempos. The song goes through many different styles like funk and jazz. As I was saying, they talk about chemtrails. They talk about Bill Gates putting microchips in chicken pot pies. Now, the song continues, kind of takes the listener on a psychedelic trip. As the song progresses, they talk about a lot more topics, but they do it in a humorous fashion, sprinkling cat urine in your eyes to combat the big bad flu. Obviously they're talking about COVID and many other conspiracy theories. Now, I like the song that the song has lots of tempo changes, kind of makes it interesting. Also, many long instrumental parts between the verses, and towards the end they play these sound bites of, I guess they are fake news clips. I mean, maybe they're real, but I'm thinking they're fake. But they're these various conspiracy theory topics. So that's the first song. The next 2 songs are just typical Primus. It's kind of hard to describe, but the next one, Follow the Fool, kind of has these futuristic sounding bass playing, those typical Les Claypool vocals. It has that classic Primus sound, that funky bass, and the strange kind of lead guitar playing. They have these repetitive lyrics. I'm assuming they're also talking about conspiracy theories, the fool follows the fool or something along those lines. But they are very repetitive. Erin on the Side of Caution. Now that is the name Erin, so it's kind of a play on words. I'll put the title right there. It has a cool guitar bass riff, nice harmonics. It's just another classic Primus sound, that type of sound, kind of a little psychedelic. Not really much more to say. Again, it's kind of hard to put their sound into words. So that's it. In conclusion, it was pretty cool hearing this band. They haven't really released many albums since the 90s. So it was good to hear them again. I know it's a short EP. I'm keeping this video short, but it wasn't very cohesive. It does have the common theme, among the songs. The 11-minute song was the highlight. And the second and third songs, they were okay, but just typical Primus songs. The first one didn't really stand out. So I'll give this EP a 7 out of 10. If you're a fan of Primus, you're going to like it. If you don't know Primus, or if you've never liked Primus, you probably won't really like it, because it's just Primus being Primus. So anyway, that is all. I'll be back again. I'll be reviewing the new EP by Kirk Hammett, and then some heavier metal stuff, the band Skullfist and Undeath and a couple others. So that's all. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.